Okay, we should be good. All right.
Oh, this is dope.
Yeah, shit's dope.
I'm looking at it on Twitter right now.
Oh, this cool. Let me see.
Yeah, that shit's hard body.
Cool. I haven't where am I at? Go. Okay, cool. And let me see. Oh, it tagged you. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so try to retweet that bitch if you can.
Yeah, of course I did.
Into the verse. Okay.
Right away, kid.
All right, so let's go there. Brandon. All right. Okay, I'm give it another I'll give this to about the 2-minute mark or something. We'll start rocking. We'll go from there. See if we get a few popping in. All right. Let's see. Yeah, this shit crazy. This dashboard is nuts. I could like all kinds of crazy shit.
It's just a lot. There's a lot of different platforms and shit, right?
Yeah, so much going on here.
Nice.
Never good without the Kawhi laugh, right?
That's my shit.
Yeah. All right.
Best laugh of all time.
It's up there. It is definitely up there. Now, let me
Facts.
I think you can share anything right here. View on Twitter. Let's see. Got to lead the broadcast. I know. Oh yeah, that's just cool. See that shit right there live.
Yeah, that's just fire. On Twitter, that shit's fucking clean.
I'm looking at. All right, cool. Let's get this going in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Agree to Disagree podcast. I am EmpireJeff, back with another episode, live stream edition, once again with DJ Deadeye.
Hello there. Hello. Crazy day already, huh?
Crazy day. So obviously, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking like what I think is gonna be the biggest news of the day today. Cause like some of them, I guess the biggest thing that may have been kind of hinted, even though it's not huge, it's a weak free agent market, but Brunson was kind of like already kind of known. We knew that was pretty much happening. And I'm thinking like, what's going to hold anything up today? Usually there's a star. Like we got to wait till
PJ Tucker's name was thrown out there that he was going to use and sign. It was like very low heat,
Yeah. And I was sitting there like, there's no guy to hold up the market today. Like we're not going to have to wait till like July 4th, July 5th to finally get some movement once the big fish is caught, essentially, right?
Yep.
Then fucking KD goes and says, nah, he's not getting the attention. He's sensitive. Let me go ahead and just destroy this day for everybody. Or
I think how you look at it. I think it just really had to do with the Kyrie thing, even though there's reports that they could be a package deal. Like, why would you take on those two guys? Yeah. I mean, KD's the man, but this dude Kyrie is just crazy. The only way I see him working anywhere is probably the Lakers, because Daddy LeBron could, like, you know what I'm saying, corral him in a little bit. But
I just don't think KD doesn't want to be in, like, in part of LeBron's like castle. You know what I mean? He wants his own.
No. I'm not talking about KD. I'm talking about Kyrie.
Oh,
I think that's really the only way, the only scenario where it would work. But they were talking about like they could be a package deal. You know what I'm saying? Like they could be traded together somewhere, which would be insane.
I don't know what team would do that. I mean, if you look at it, it's like that would be like having like an experienced bank robber with the guy who can't drive the getaway car, right? It's proven it's not to work with those two. Even as great as LeBron is at leading a team for the most part of holding things together through chaos, you can say what you want about LeBron, and there's a lot of pro and negative you can go with, but he's proven for the most part, at least.
Yeah, for the most part, he's going to be a good leader. There's times when he's not, he got, he'll pull out the cast when he loses in the finals and all this,
But he's clearly better in that role than KD can ever.
Oh, way. I mean, he's probably top 3 in the league, maybe even top 2 in the league, at leading a squad or just getting some type of order on the team, I mean, he couldn't do it last year, but I think that has to do a lot with like the big personalities, you know what I'm saying, that like demand things to be a certain way, Hopefully this year for y'all it switches up a little bit, but it's tough. It's tough with Brick in there,
Before we get to our thing, because the KD thing, when you're looking at it, I think there's only maybe 4 or 5 teams, more 4 than 5, but that I think that could make it work without gutting their team, and to where they can make the trade and he could still contend for a championship, and they might still have pieces to move to get better later. So in no particular order, there's only one I'd put at the end of this, but that would be the 2 teams that are quote unquote on his list, Phoenix and Miami. And then I would go with
they can't trade for Adebayo because they had just traded for Ben Simmons, who's under the rookie extension.
But I think they can after July 1st, can't they? After tomorrow.
I don't think they can have 2 guys on the team that are rookie extensions.
I gotta double check. I think I heard someone talk about that today, and I think they said there was a way they could do it post a certain date that they could do it. But you might be right on that. I could be wrong. But that team, they have other moving parts. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, and Miami would not want to get rid of Jimmy, but if you have a chance to get KD, they're going to offer anything to get it. That's just. I think
they need Jimmy if KD's going to be on the team, because KD don't bring no toughness, so they need Jimmy to bring that. You know what I'm saying? And Adebayo don't bring no toughness either.
Kevin
you know what I'm saying?
With probably 2 more years left in his prime.
And definitely not Hero or none of them other guys bring the toughness. And PJ Tucker's gone, so
okay,
they're gonna need Jimmy there. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. So we got those 2. All right. So
who was it again? Jimmy, Miami. What?
Off the top, without discussing actual player movement yet, let's just say the teams I think they could absorb it, which I felt would be, like I said, the 2 teams he wants: Phoenix, Miami, and then I think it would be you guys, Boston. The Clippers, only because they've got a ton of contracts that can make it work, but they don't have the picks. And the team that I think is a sleeper here, I don't know if they can get it done. And if someone has mentioned this already, I'm not trying to take their comment, but I'm looking at it, and I think Denver. Like, if Denver really, they have the pieces to get it done, and they got the draft picks. They just got a new GM in there. They've got pieces to do it. I don't know if he wants to.
Real talk. They should send his ass back to OKC, bro. Get all a bunch of picks and restart that whole joint. You know.
I get it.
But then he could play with one of those other guys that's there. You know, some solidified young guy.
I just don't think he accepts that trade. I know he's got 4 years left on his deal, but I don't think anyone's going to trade for him and have him be unhappy KD. You know what I mean? So I don't think.
Yeah, the issue is he doesn't have a no trade clause, so they can throw him to the generals if they want.
Like I said, and then it's that team's problem to try to make him happier, move him on after that. But it would be kind of cool, like if he did want to go back, if he did go back to OKC. But I don't see it. But I think it's going to be, he probably ends up in Phoenix. That's where he seems to want to go. I just don't know if it could be straight up, or it would have to be a 3rd team, because I don't know if I heard Bridges, and I heard they didn't say the Booker's off the table because he just resigned, but I heard Bridges and Ayton. Yeah, Bridges, Ayton, they got picks
and some picks or some bench guys or something like that.
Yeah, so it's
not a bad package.
I'm gonna ask the question here. Let's see. The Nets want Booker for KD. Right, I don't know who asked this in Facebook. It just says Facebook user, but yeah, the Nets definitely. I mean, of course, it's a negotiation, right? So the first thing you do if Brooklyn calls, say, hey, we're open to talking. Booker is mandatory, and of course,
so once KD decided to do this, and then pick a couple teams, then automatically you got to start looking at the star guys just because of the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Booker off rip, obviously they're not going to trade for CP3 or anything like that, because for what? You know what I'm saying? So it would be Booker. It would be starting at Booker. Any team that's really involved is gonna start with their star guy. You know what I mean?
But if Phoenix says no, if they say Booker's off the table, CP's off the table, do you think it's enough? Ayton, Bridges, picks, and some fillers? I don't think that's a haul for KD.
Not at all.
Like, I don't see it. So one thing I want to ask you. I already know the question. I already know the answer. If I was going to ask you about the Celtics, I'm fairly confident in that answer there. The one I want to ask you is, if they call the Clippers and they say for Kawhi, they're not too far off in age. I think they're only about like 2 years maybe off, right? If they ask for Kawhi, because my thinking with the Clippers would be Kawhi can't be a number 2. He's not going back to that. Paul George can. And Paul George is probably a better fit with KD than Kawhi would be. But if you're the Clippers, would you do that move?
How many years does Kawhi have? How many years does Kawhi have left?
I think he signed a 4 or 5 year extension last summer. So he's got a minimum of 3 years left. He may have a player option.
They got the same. They got the same, basically the same deal. Contract.
Kawhi's about, again, I believe Kawhi's about 2 years younger. I'd have to look that up. They're both.
If I was the Clippers, I wouldn't do it. But if I was the Nets, I definitely would do it.
Okay, that's fair. That's
fair. Because then you have Kawhi with Ben, and I mean, I guess Kyrie, if he's still going to be there, which I doubt. You know what I'm saying?
We'll get to Kyrie in a bit. I'm gonna.
I think that's better. And then the pieces they have there, that'll be a not contending, but they'll be contending in the East for sure.
Yeah. So Phoenix again. That's what he's going to try to push to. There may have to be a third team. Maybe someone that wants Ayton. From what I've heard, Brooklyn isn't really interested in Ayton. So
that's a bad hit for the Lakers if he goes to the Phoenix Suns.
It's a bad hit for the West. It's a bad hit for the Warriors. You know, I think
the Warriors will be good just because they have just some sense of like stability a little bit.
Yeah.
So they'll be okay. But some of those other teams, there's gonna be way harder. You know.
Yeah.
But again, KD's older. He's not injury prone, but he has a lot of injuries. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know wherever he feels like he wants to go that it's gonna work.
Yeah. What do you think about what up? Jeff was popping. Yeah. The Facebook people, I can't see who it is, but what's popping to you too?
What up?
Would you guys would as a Boston diehard fan, and if you're Brad, forget Brooklyn calling you. You know, we know what they're asking for. If Brad is calling, if we do Brooklyn Boston 2.0 without Danny Ainge involved this time, and it's we talked about this before about a realistic, negotiating a good faith deal. If you're Brad and you call Sean Marks in Brooklyn, what would be your offer for Durant?
For Durant? It'd probably be a bunch of picks, and then we'd have to make the contract work however we can on the team, but it would definitely be a bunch of picks, some of the young guys.
Have to be Jalen, and
then it'd either be Jalen or it would probably be Jalen because Al's deal is now way less than it was last year. Mm-hmm. And Smart doesn't make as much as Jalen to be able to absorb that. And
he wouldn't offer
and also they wouldn't offer Tatum, but also Robert Williams' contract is not as lucrative as KD's, obviously.
No. So the conversation, I think Scalabrini said, what did he say? It would be
like Jalen, Pritchard, or Neesmith, and whatever picks. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think that Brooklyn would consider Jalen, Robert, Tice, and picks?
Robert Williams?
Yeah. I know you wouldn't want to get
I think Brooklyn would consider it for sure, but I don't think Brad's moving off of Time Lord or not yet anyway,
I just think the thinking would be if you have a chance to get Kevin Durant and you get to keep Tatum, I think you've got a little overpay with the other bodies just to hold on to Tatum.
Yeah, for sure. And then it'd be a struggle to get the rest of the team built though.
I mean, they still got their TPEs, which are
got TPEs and they got the MLE too, so they can fill out some shit like that.
The TPEs or Trayer players exceptions are becoming crazy. Like
they're like wild cards in Uno now.
They're not using them on. Before they would be like, okay, this guy makes this, I have it, let's just get him. It's a free body. But then with luxury tax and if they got more years onto it, teams are less likely to use it. But a team like Boston, who was going to give away someone at a major contract, that's when that thing probably becomes more valuable to them to snatch someone up in that slot. Essentially, it essentially adds another body to that Brooklyn trade inward. Sure. You know what I mean?
They're either gonna stick to where they at right as of right now, or they're gonna try to use that TPE that's from the Fournier deal last year because they have only like a month left to use it or a few weeks. Yeah, so they should.
Fournier, he did a 4-year deal in New York, right? 4 years.
Yeah.
And this was his first year. So there's 3 years left on his deal.
Yeah. So the TPE for him is about 17.
Yeah, you guys could absorb him again. Well, I think he's like at 18 because it's what, like a raise every year.
Or 18. Yeah, it might be 18, but yeah, it expires within the month, so they have to do it now.
Yeah, the big one is when it expires the earliest, right? You have 3 total, but the biggest one expires earlier.
Yeah, that's the Fournier one, which is 18, and then the other one I believe is 12 or 13, and then they have the MLE at 10, I believe.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's how I can see them build it up. Because when I look at, like I said, I mentioned the Clippers, but because they traded so many picks and swaps just to get Paul, just like the Lakers, their draft capital as far as what they have control over the next few years, they can't offer those up in the trade. So why they have the players like Kawhi, Paul George, they don't have the picks to further entice like Boston, Phoenix, Miami. They don't have that. So that's why, even though I mentioned the Clippers because they've got a really good, front office and they've got a bunch of guys making between like 10 and 18 million to make it work with the math. It all depends what Brooklyn wants. But I think what's also important here, and I heard, a few people mention this today, is that Brooklyn's not going to go into tank mode because their picks are going to Houston, right? And they got drops going to Houston. Now they got things.
Well, they gotta get a player for a player here.
They're going to want to play.
And also because of the no trade clause, they want somebody that's going to come in and play right away. Yeah.
So I wasn't shocked when Patty Mills opted out yesterday because I'm like, okay, he's going to do a 1+1. Get him more bread and 2 years additional in case he gets hurt. Mm-hmm. But then I was surprised when he re-signed today after the news came out. Him, Claxton, and those guys re-signed. I'm like, wait a minute. But then it's like, well, they're going to get something of pretty good value back for KD. They're going to whatever they move Kyrie for. We'll get to that. They're going to get something back there. Mm-hmm. And they're re-signing their guys around those guys. So these guys are clearly like, okay, look, we know
what the problem is.
This isn't going to be the Cavs after Braun. This isn't going to be like, the Lakers post Kobe. This isn't going to be, well, they hope, right? We're going to sign our role players and we're going to try to find our stars around that because, time and time again, you see teams can add a star, have an all-star, but then they can't fill in around them,
I think their mentality is, let's get these guys out of here and pivot, kind of like how when Kawhi left Toronto, how Toronto was still competitive and in the top 6-5 seed. You know what I mean?
Man, that's a perfect comparison. Yeah.
I think that's what they're trying to do. The thing is that Toronto had all these young, hungry, long-armed defender dudes. You know what I'm saying? So they can, they can hold people to points so they can, get their offense going so they can move up. But I just don't know what the defense looks like, Well, I mean, with Ben, it'll look better. And and if they play Claxton more and way less of these old guys, then,
Yeah, and Toronto also had has a very, very good head coach. The book is still out on Nash. Like, God, when you flip back and you're like, man, that team before Kyrie and KD were like, we're going to Brooklyn. Like, just think of the team they had.
Yeah, they had a squad and they had a good coach.
Yeah, and they said when they made him, remember, like he basically quit because they made him start DeAndre Jordan over Jared Allen. He's like, I'm not co-signing this. Like, I'm not. This is not the right move.
It was Atkinson, right?
Yeah, and he's like, I'm not gonna have this on my resume of me choosing to start DeAndre just because we signed him to get KD.
So a bunch of money, which he's not worth.
Yes, and then I mean, that lineup was what? So it was D'Angelo Russell. You had Dinwiddie. You had Karis LeVert. You had Jared Allen. I'm missing someone else. So Joe Harris was already
Harris.
I know I'm missing someone else, but that team was already like doing things.
They were like at least a 6th seed, 5th seed or something.
They did play. I was here where Dudley was out there chasing around Ben Simmons and flapping his arms around the court. Remember?
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, man, but that team had, had they had a chance to grow together, I don't know if they, obviously I don't think they would have been a finals threat. But the KD,
and even when they brought Kyrie in, he only played like 20 games. That team that he was on was competitive. They were in the playoffs. I think they were the 7th or 6th seed or something.
That was the bubble year that he hurt his shoulder and didn't.
Yeah, play. Exactly. They were in the bubble. They made the playoffs.
And he didn't play in the playoffs.
He didn't play.
He had it out.
You know what I mean? And that was it. That was literally the last good run in the playoffs they had. I mean, The one where they beat Boston, Boston didn't have Jalen in the series, and Boston still won a game.
Yeah, man. Well, they're scrappy, man. They're scrappy. Like it's okay. So if you had to bet, if you had to put money down, where do you think KD lands?
If I gotta put down money, where KD's gonna go? Jesus. I mean, I hope Brooklyn sends him to Alaska, bro. Like, beat it, you know. But they're not gonna do that. If I had to put money, I think the Phoenix scenario is the closest thing, because there's some type of like something there, you know, where they can get some type of package. You know what I'm saying? The Clippers, I just don't see it.
Yeah.
And then what were the other two teams we were talking about? Miami, I don't see it because of the Adebayo thing.
Boston,
I don't see them. I don't see them hitching their wagons to
Denver.
To KD.
Denver is my sleeper.
Denver could be a sleeper for sure.
I think the only thing that would hold back him potentially going to Denver would be KD not wanting to go to Denver. But I think if KD said, "Yeah, I'll go there," I think
that's a good market for KD, bro. But I think Denver's a super dope city. I think that would be really good for him, to be honest. And Joker is just like, here, take the ball, like whatever, you know. I already got 280 whatever mil today. I'm good.
Yeah, they've got the pieces to get it done. Like I said, I think
the issue to me is Kyrie, man.
Well, that's what I'm gonna go to next. That's why I wanted to wrap this up. So you think Phoenix?
I think Phoenix, out of everybody you saying, it sounds like Phoenix. He's definitely out of the East Coast for sure.
I mean, can you think of someone I haven't mentioned? Because I don't.
I'm trying to think of some squads. Hold on, let me.
I can't see it anywhere else. Like Dallas would love to, with them losing. You know,
that's one thing I was gonna bring up with this Kyrie thing. There's a Kyrie to Dallas story out there, and I'm like, how? Why that would be a huge mistake.
Yeah, that's not. Well, let's get. But yeah, I can't think of an additional team for KD.
Hold on, I just gotta look some teams
that he would consider to go to, that the team would have the pieces to be competitive after he got there.
I'll tell you right now, a sleeper team that would be kind of nuts. I don't know if they can make anything happen, but Chicago would be kind of crazy.
Well, I thought about that earlier, but it would have to be so. Actually,
in the East Coast, I don't see nobody else though, other than Chicago.
The only thing with Chicago, the only one with Chicago, and I see someone in the comments here threw something in. I'm gonna throw it up there in a second because I thought about this too. The only thing about Chicago is it would have to take Zach LaVine in a sign and trade, right? So do you risk? I heard this, and this did not. I mean, I thought about this partially, but then I heard it on NBA radio, so I don't want to take the full credit for this. I was listening to like, and this is true. How are you going to go to a guy you have to re-sign and be like, "Hey, are you interested in going to Brooklyn if we move you for KD?" And then if you don't have the in on KD, and he's like, "Oh, you guys were just." I wasn't your first choice. Then that could backfire on you. So Chicago, had they had him signed,
he also said that he was willing to test the market. You know what I'm saying too.
He wants to test the market. He doesn't want them to test his market. You know how players are.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah? So there's another one that's still up here that someone on Facebook threw up. I'm gonna throw it in here, and that's Memphis.
I don't know what's their pick situation looking like, because they would have to give up a bunch of picks and a bunch of like good, okay role guys is what they would have to give up.
Right. So it would probably off top. It would probably have to be all of Ja's right hand dudes in the lineup. Right. You'd have to have
like Dylan,
Aaron Jackson, Dylan Brooks, and probably Bane like off top.
Yep.
And the only thing is that team's chemistry and that glue is so good. I don't know. They're
like a blue collar squad, you know.
Yeah, but if you. It's kind of like Voltron. They're collected, right? Like
that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like the Seas. It's kind of like the Seas, you know.
Do they work the same? I don't know. And I don't think KD wants to go back to Midwest, Middle America again. I think he wants to like even though Phoenix isn't a major metropolitan city, it's a city that NBA players just tend to love. So
yeah, it's huge. It's a big town, and they like basketball. They only have one team in town, basically. I mean, they have the football teams, but it's not in Phoenix.
Yeah, but I thought of Memphis, but I just don't see it. I think he has a better chance of going back to OKC than he does to Memphis.
Yeah, me too. I think that too. In the West, Yeah, it's slim pickings. Portland? What do you think about Portland?
What do they have to give? Like that Brooklyn, like they just got Grant. They just signed. I did know. Okay, we'll get to this though, because the kid that they signed today, they paid a lot for Anthony. But
Hell yeah.
So that's
They love him there. Even
I
the fans love him there.
I love the kid too, but I think there's kind of a little kind of conspiracy thing here with this, and we'll get to that. I think there's a reason for that contract today.
Yeah, I can't really see aside from OKC, Chicago, Phoenix. Yeah, I don't see no other team. I mean, I think that Denver thing is official as well, but they got rid of two of their like scorer guys with Barton and the other dude.
Yeah, they got rid of Monte Morris and
Barton,
and Barton, but they got in and they brought in KCP. That was a good trade,
which is a good look.
Yeah, that was a good.
They're gonna be good, yo. Especially if they get one of these guys to play, they'll be straight, yo.
Yeah, I think that was a good trade. That's one of those rare trades where I think you look at it and help both sides.
Both teams, yeah.
Morris and Barton going there. Morris reuniting with Kuzma. They played together their whole childhood.
For sure,
kind of cool for them. So okay, so outside enough the KD stuff right now. You got him going to Phoenix. You got him pretty much. You feel that's where he's landing.
I feel like it. Yeah, I feel like that the Chicago story and the OKC. Because he's definitely not going to Houston. They own all their picks.
Yeah. And someone threw this in the comments, and this is probably the most KD stuff ever with his grudges. This is true. Wouldn't want to go back to the team that passed up on him in the draft. KD's grudges are facts. That's factual.
Facts.
Yeah. So
you should send them to the Sonics.
Yeah. So okay. So now the KD, which was not more than likely, I think it's without a shadow of a doubt that the whole KD situation was triggered by the Kyrie Irving situation.
And the timing.
Yeah. So without a doubt. Now I will shout this out. My guy on Twitter, Big Baby Jonathan, he's got Big Baby Sportscast, and he does a good job with his live streams and stuff. Me and him were actually talking yesterday. And he basically said, like, Kyrie said he opted into the media, but he never even told Brooklyn. Like, Brooklyn didn't even know he opted in. Right?
Yeah. They heard from the media.
Yeah, and the words were very carefully picked. Like, I'm opting in. I'll see y'all in the fall. He didn't say anything like, I'll see you in Brooklyn. I'll be in Brooklyn. He didn't say where he'd see us or with who he would see us with.
Yeah.
He just said, I couldn't work out a trade prior to opting in. I'm going to lock in my bread, and they're going to have to figure it out. I took that as, that's why I said, like, I don't think this is over.
No, definitely not. But now it gets more complicated because now they got to match the money.
Well, it did get complicated until it became uncomplicated with KD. So now.
But even then, it complicates it too, because what if Brooklyn just decides to just trade KD, and now they got to figure out, no, they'll just let this dude play out his thing or whatever the case may be, move him for something, whatever the case may be. But I don't know. I feel like it complicates it even more now.
Well, my thing is this. If the Brooklyn Nets throw up on their Twitter feed, raise your hand if you want Kevin Durant, and raise your hand if you want Kyrie Irving to all NBA teams, 29 of them are going to raise their hand for KD. I'm only seeing one right now raise it for Kyrie. And for Kyrie, this is that classic, like in baseball, that bad contract for bad contract. NBA happens sometimes, like with Supermax moves, like the Russ and the Wall, stuff like that. But they're more rare than in baseball. This is one of those scenarios where Lakers' problems can help Brooklyn's problems and vice versa. Because I'll tell you this one thing about Russ, and I've said this before. I think you will agree with this. Russ can get you to the playoffs on his own. He can. He can help a team. He can help a team. If you're trying to make Russ be a third fiddle on a team, and he has to be the guy that's off ball, and you're not counting on his triple doubles, you want him to score on the perimeter, that it's just not going to work for you. But if you put Russ back in OKC right now, if you put him on a team, now I know him and Ben Simmons would be absolutely horrendous from the perimeter. They'd have to.
That offense would be so bad, man.
I get it. But I think if you involve a third team or whatever it is, there's someone out there that's like, okay, we're in a gap year. I want to like contend or get to the playoffs, try to get to the play-in. Russ can help a team with that. He's not going to win you a round by himself, and he's not going to get you into the second round. But if you're looking for these owners that just don't want to go spend too crazy, got to spend their portion, get to the playoffs, make that play-in money, and dip, Russ could be your guy. So when you're looking at that with the Lakers, and I also think that it's the only place that Kyrie's antics could probably work because he'd be back with LeBron. I don't see another team that it would work with. I don't.
I don't see another team that it will work with. I think I'm only thinking because it's LeBron.
Yeah.
Even the Lakers, like, you know, cachet is not enough to stop this anomaly. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He's just one of those guys that just will destroy anything he's, attached to.
They said that there were two guys in the league that kind of marched to the beat of their own drum. It was Westbrook and Kyrie.
Yep.
Only
Facts.
right that you swap one of them drum lines for another, right?
Yeah.
So my thing is,
with the third team is that, like, the money, you know what I'm saying? Like the matching, because there's not really a lot of terrible contracts right now. And then the ones that are the new ones that people are just signing now. You know what I mean?
There's one team that I think could work for Brooklyn. And I think that if they're incentivized and if the Lakers are getting Kyrie out of this, they'd put more, into it. And that's Indiana. If
they have
Brooklyn could come out with Brogdon, Buddy Hield, or some kind of Brogdon, Miles Turner, if they can come out with something like that and Russ goes to Indy, the reason why, like, Brogdon is a good player, but he's got 2 years left on his deal and they want out from it.
They overpaid him.
Yeah. So Russ 1 year, and they get out of that second year of Brogdon's deal. They get a draft pick for that. The Lakers, I don't feel, are giving up that draft choice unless they get the player they want. Now, that draft pick doesn't necessarily have to go to Brooklyn. Maybe it goes to Indy, and then Indy takes on Russ. I think wherever Russ lands is where that pick goes. So I think that team can work. It can. Or, if you find a way and you get Russ back to OKC and you figure out some pieces that Brooklyn might want, they just have to find a place to stash Russ, right? And it's different now because I think the Lakers are going to spend a little bit more to get Kyrie than they would for Brogdon, or they would have, they didn't want to give up a pick just to get Wall, swap Russ's contract for Wall's contract. It just didn't make any sense. That's what did someone say that you were trading? What was it? You were trading Crip Nipsey for blood Nipsey in that trade. It's fair. It's a funny comparison, right? But it's kind of like what it is. That doesn't fix a problem. Kyrie fits to what the Lakers need. And I think, forget the LeBron and Kyrie dynamic. The Kyrie and AD dynamic would be huge if AD is healthy. That would be a great fit. So,
and if Kyrie's healthy.
And LeBron's healthy at this point, right?
LeBron's healthy.
Yeah, but there's a lot of ifs. But here's the thing: if KD goes to Phoenix, you got to worry about, is KD healthy? Is Chris Paul healthy? All these teams got injury concern.
Even Devin Booker, man.
Mm-hmm, that's fair. So I think Kyrie. Obviously, there's no guarantees, but I think it's like 75-25 that he ends up a Laker. I feel that. It was 50,
I don't really put it past that happening.
Yeah.
That they got to figure all that out, though, because that sounds, I don't know, it just sounds wild to add a $36 million contract to a team. Oh, I guess if they absorb Russ, then
I mean, it's about getting. So they already made the move of, they already made the Russ mistake, right? So now it's about just getting out from that. I hate the people that don't want to undo the mistake because they don't want to admit they made a mistake.
Yeah,
like, it's your job. Figure it out now. You've LeBron is amazingly still playing at a high level at his age. You can't waste years anymore
at all, because he's at the point where it's like 1 or 2 or 3 tops,
or just one serious injury. Not the injuries he's had have just been like things that could happen to any NBA player. But if that Achilles or a bad knee or something, just ACL, anything, and then that's going to be a different recovery period for him. The stuff that he's getting hurt on is not crazy for his age to recover from. But
anything like super catastrophic might be it, to be honest.
Yeah. So they
Achilles or ACL or any of
that. So I think he goes there. There wasn't a lot of, like, I kept feeling today, I felt like today was really nothing surprising, like, out the gate. Everything.
No, not at all.
I got in a little, like, a kind of one of my friends today got in a little bit of like a little tiff, little argument with them because he's hit me with all these, this happened, he's got this bread. I'm like, expected. And he's basically like, and I'm not getting excited about it. Like, that's that. I'm like, I just saw this coming.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing that I saw that was kind of like, word, was the Bobby Portis thing.
Well, I kind of saw that coming.
Because he was going to opt into more money.
Yeah. He finally, see, he took less money all those years to get to a point where they would have his bird rights, so he could finally resign him. So thing was floating around today like, oh, Bobby Portis is going to Golden State for 2 years, and I mean, it's not happening. Like that doesn't make any sense. He's finally to the point where Milwaukee can pay him what he sacrificed for. They're a championship caliber team. He has a role. The city loves him. He has a home there. Makes no sense for him to go to Golden State, but it hit the internet, so people believed it. And I was just like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
So I would say like there was only a couple things. Like I said, the Patty Mills one kind of shocked me when the news came out. Not that he opted out yesterday, but that he re-signed today. That kind of threw me. The Lakers getting Lonnie Walker for the full mid-level kind of shocked me a little bit. I felt that might have been a little too high for him. But
so they got him?
They got him. Yeah. So
that's
they
good.
got him. I like the pick. I like him getting Lonnie Walker. I had him a little cheaper than that, but that's Clutch Mafia, man. And then they got Toscano Anderson. They got Brown Jr. from Washington, which I don't know a lot about him. I know about all the others. They got Jones back, who's a center they had right before they cut him to sign Drummond, and they've kind of always wanted him back since. He was on the Kings last year. But everything they did. So remember out the gate when the Lakers signed all those like 35-year-old, 36-year-old plus last season, like out the gate, they kind of did the same thing this year, but all youth. So they've got all young guys now, but with experience and Braun in them. Now it's just if they get Kyrie in there, they're kind of built. So I think they did some of these signings knowing that they've got something coming.
Yeah.
And them adding Kendrick Nunn essentially because he didn't play at all last year. So, that helps. But looking around the league, there really wasn't anything. That's why I wasn't really getting excited. So my friend was just like, I'm done with you. You're not, everything is like, nah. I saw it coming, man. It just nothing that happened today was unknown. Because people, I've gotten so numb. I've gone so numb to the Supermax contracts and the money that flies around there. So when I see $40 million per year, I don't even react to it anymore because it's normal now. They give these non-superstars superstar money. And it's because they're labeling everyone a superstar, and there's just not that many.
Or if they do something extraordinary in their field, then they are deemed some type of star, superstar, or whatever status.
Yeah. Like you got a guy like in today's NBA, like Ben Wallace would be labeled like a massive superstar.
For sure. Because he blocks shots. He'd be like Rudy Gobert,
Yeah, it'd be labeled a superstar. So you touched on the Jazz. I didn't hear what the offer was here, but I heard something today that Miami made a trade offer for Donovan Mitchell.
I heard him there. I heard him in Miami. I mean, in New York.
New York wants him. I know for sure.
I heard him in a lot of places. I don't really know what the hell the Jazz are doing, to be honest. I know they're kind of sort of rebuilding, I guess.
I don't think Donovan knows either. I think that's why he's frustrated. But,
I don't think they got to figure out what they're doing with one or the other one and then go from there. To be honest, I would keep Mitchell and get rid of Gobert and then try to get another scorer through Gobert. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And maybe some young guys.
I think Gobert's incredible at what he does on defense for the regular season, but I feel like he gets neutralized so much in the playoffs.
Yeah, like I like him, you know what I mean? It's just he's a certain type of guy, like I mean, I'm not gonna put Aiden in the same category as Gobert, but similar things, like guys that only can do a few things,
Yeah, but Ayton is purely, this is my biggest beef back like 2 seasons ago. Like Ayton basically just is a product of Chris Paul, like DeAndre Jordan was, and and those type of guys. If he's not playing with Chris Paul and he's not getting those lobs, he was solid defenses and rebounding, and then with Chris Paul gave him that confidence to become better. But he's not a guy you're gonna throw the ball to 10, 15 times a game and say, back down and get me some buckets. It's not gonna happen with him.
Yeah, you're right.
So, but I think he's a solid player. I'll give him his props for what he helped that team on defense. Him and Bridges, they're solid. But he's, you can replace the DeAndre Ayton. That's why I don't always agree like with what the Suns do, especially their owners.
Yeah, they're all over the place, man.
But I do agree with him. And Ayton's not a max player. I would not pay him max money. And
I wouldn't pay him max money either.
I don't know how many teams out there would.
But desperate ones or teams that gotta burn the money somehow.
Yeah. And I don't think they
Orlando Magic come up to the mind.
Yeah, and I know that Miami was trying to trade for Crowder to get him back.
I also heard rumors about Crowder in Boston.
I saw some. I don't know if it was a rumor or if I was just seeing people say that they wanted him back. Did you see like actual like reporters?
I think it was a rumor. I think it was a rumor. I didn't think it was just fandom stuff. but it's possible.
Trying to see if we're missing anything right here. So Drummond went to the Drummond. This was a few minutes ago. Drummond went to the Bulls.
Oh, okay. So him, Vooch,
yeah,
DeRozan,
the latest.
Whatever they do with Levine, and
Levine's staying.
He should, to be honest, but I don't know. These guys are weird, man. He'll end up signing 300 mil with like San Antonio or some dumb.
I don't even think they'll offer him that. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like you gotta go. This is the closest you're gonna get to being on a good squad, bro. If you take big money right now, you're gonna go somewhere whack.
Yeah. Well, speaking of somewhere whack, not the city, but the team, Portland. They trade for Jeremy Grant.
That's a good look, though.
It's a look. I agree. I like Jeremy. I think he's underrated. I think people forget how good he was for Denver in a playoff.
I think he'll play good alongside somebody good because that's why he was attractive to Detroit in the first place. He played with Joker. He played with Jamal. You know what I'm saying? He played with these guys.
What had me up kind of about him, he signed with Detroit for essentially the same amount of money.
Way too much bread.
Yeah, but it was the same amount of bread that Denver offered. He left a Western Conference final team to go to a team to get his own buckets because it was about the next contract. So that's what this is. It's a contract year. And that's why a lot of teams, when people think about what Portland gave up for him, for a player like him, basically like a Milwaukee Bucks, like protected pick or something like that, right? In 2025. It was essentially nothing. It was just to absorb the money, right? It's because people know that if you traded for him, he wants a max deal or close to it. And there's a lot of teams that aren't going to pay him max. But Portland, who can attract free agents, he's a good player. You know, like we'll take it, put you with Dame. But that's where I think it comes in here. They're probably about to extend Dame 2 more years. I think.
Yep, I heard about that. 100 mil, right?
Yeah. So my kind of theory here is this is kind of a page out of the Clipper book here, where they kind of when they got Kennard and then paid him all that money. So now he inflate his contract to where it's tradable. So I think that's what Portland did with Anthony.
Okay.
And I think that 20 what is he 4-year 25. So it's about average of 25 million a year. Now they have a tradable piece. They have draft picks, and they like Anthony. Obviously, I think he's really good. The fan base loves him there. But if a star becomes available,
they're in the play.
Go to Portland. Now they're in play because they're not going to move Dame, right? They would have done it.
They already hitched their wagon to Dame and gutted the rest of the team. So
yeah. So I think that's why they do that deal. That's kind of out of the Clippers playbook, and it's smart. Like I've always said that what the Clippers are doing is smart, and they don't have the picks, but Portland does. So other than that, there really wasn't any major. This was kind of a dull first day. The KD news kind of saved the day.
And you know what? To piggyback off that, is gonna hinder the market until he's moved because teams are gonna try to do whatever they can if they feel like they're in play for KD.
Yeah, like Phoenix isn't touching anything right now.
They're not gonna do nothing until he signs somewhere or gets traded somewhere. It's gonna kind of like be like a stalemate out here for a little bit, because he's such a big piece.
Yeah. And then that question becomes, okay, if they're going to be so focused on the KD thing, how long will it take for that Kyrie situation to play out? Or they just try to get Kyrie and see, well, maybe we got something you can work with and you want to stay. But I think KD I don't think they're salvaging anything. I think Brooklyn needs to just wipe that out. They just need to get rid of. I mean, they should have just got rid of Kyrie, kept KD with Ben, and then added another guy. You know what I'm saying? That could complement KD because they have like you were saying, they got their squad kind of solidified in a sense, Yeah, and this was another great move today too. This one right here, Ingles to the Bucks, great pickup.
Yeah, that's a good move.
Great pickup. Sure. I don't know when he's back, because I know he tore his knee, right? I think his ACL.
Yeah, ACL, right?
Yeah, so I think he's out for a bit. So guys like him, I think some team, where did Danny Green got traded, but he hasn't gotten bought out yet, I don't think. But Kemba got bought out. Curious to see where he ends up.
I heard Bucks too.
For Kemba?
Yeah. Off the bench.
They got they got Carver as their backup right now, right? And who's the other guy they got? But Kemba, I feel bad for Kemba, but Kemba's give me Kemba on my team any day from a teammate like leadership perspective.
Yeah, and if he don't got to do much, come off the bench and score like 15 to 20, he's golden.
Yeah,
don't ask him to play D, but
no.
Definitely off the bench, he's a good look.
Yeah, if you count him in your like 5 through 8 rotation, not 1 through 5, then you're gonna have a lot.
You're doing I.
So
that's what it is. Once you count on him for 1 through 5, it is not happening. He barely played any games. He couldn't play back-to-backs here, and it was a year after the surgery.
Yeah.
And he was still not playing back-to-backs. It was like the craziest thing ever. That's why it was just like, all right, bye.
Yeah, the little
because we'd get we'd win a game, then get a day off, then play another game, win that, then the back-to-back would hit. He wouldn't play, we'd lose, and then it would be like the same cycle all season. We could never get in a rhythm. We could never like get some semblance going because his scheduling was so bad.
Yeah, no, I definitely get it. That happened. You guys went through a cycle of that for a while though, and then when it finally, it's kind of,
it really it's funny because it's true what Marcus is saying. They they went through all these superstar guys when he was right there. Before IT got the job, Marcus was the point guard. Marcus, he dislocated his finger or something in summer league, and then couldn't play the beginning of the season. So then IT took over, and that was the year he ended up with the MVP top 5 finish. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so and then after him it was like Kyrie, and then it was Kemba, and then it was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So eventually, really, they just needed to give him the car keys. But they still need. I feel like the C's need some extra shooting off the bench and some extra rebounding.
What do you think of? Well, for the rebounding, this isn't going to necessarily help the shooting. We're not keeping him, and I don't know if I'm happy about that. What about Dwight for you guys?
He might be kind of crazy.
He's similar to Time Lord, as far as he wouldn't miss too much of a beat right there in spells. He still can rebound, block shots, and defend.
Yeah, I feel like Al's back, and then and Tice I think is back for 1 year.
Yeah, but I like we talked about this the last show about how you guys have your first like lob threat in a long time, and I think that really energizes your guys' game, and I think it makes you better.
It makes us way better. Yeah, one of the reasons they were having dry spells in the finals is because he was hurt and couldn't just do it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's one of the threats. It's like up fake. It's like Marcus open for 3, up fake, drive to the basket, alley-oop to Rob. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's like a play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
So when he can't jump,
when they can't stop,
when he can't jump, now Marcus is either taking the 3 or driving and then like dishing, to try to swing the ball even more. When you could easily get 2 points because nobody could jump with that kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But next year he'll be good. I feel like he just needs to kind of like add a little bit of weight, not too much. And that'll help him to absorb hits because that's what it is. He'll like take a hit and like fall to the ground, and that's when the injuries happen,
Yeah. No,
but he got hops. He could just jump like a bunny,
But I think that's I think that's where Dwight could help is because he can give you those stretches where Rob's not there and you still have that lob threat. And you still get the version of what he had. I still think he can help a few teams.
I think so too. Yeah, he has a great skill set. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's not modern by any means, but it's efficient. You know what I'm saying?
I think it fits what you guys do.
Double.
He can play tough. He can take hits. He can give punishment. One thing that caught my eye, for a few teams, but I know definitely for you guys are going to look at this guy, and that's Gallinari when the Spurs buy him out.
Yeah,
I think that'd be a good for you guys.
Yeah, like something like that, bench guy, vet. That's another thing we need is like veterans off the bench. Because the guys we had, we traded in order to get Derek White and well, not Al, but Derek White. And then the rest of the bench was all young guys, nobody experienced like that. You know what I mean? So Gallinari would be a good look. I don't know what his injury situation is. But I know he's a good, like, at least 15 to 20 off the bench type guy. You know what I mean?
I had read that at the time last year when the Spurs were looking to move either White or Murray. Atlanta was in on Murray and White at the time. You guys were in on White, and I heard something you guys were talked about Murray, but I don't know if that.
Yeah, they had talked about it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how close that was.
So far, but I know it was Murray. You guys had talked about Buddy Hield, and you had talked about like Harrison Barnes, right? And then like they figured we need a guy, probably of all those guys that can do the defense part, and that's why they got Derek White. But it's crazy how far.
I would have loved Harrison Barnes, man.
Solid player, man. I don't think he's
solid, bro. And he's not even mad old like that.
No, he was young when the Warriors were winning those.
Yeah, exactly. He's not even mad old like that. I would love him off the bench for sure. He would great leadership, championship pedigree. Can score the ball still, go to the hole, take hits, shoot free throws, shoot threes.
Yeah, he's steady.
He's steady. Man.
I know this won't happen. Back to the KD thing real quick. But if you think about what the Warriors could offer in a trade, there's not many packages. There's not.
They got a lot of young talent, man.
They got their youth. They
drafted well. They drafted really well.
Contract with Wiggins, who's now a good, a very good player.
A champion.
Yeah, and played very well in that role, not just, hitched the ride on the bus, right?
Yeah. His defense was fucking, his defense was part of the reason they got the W's.
It might be the most important part because the other stuff was going to happen. Steph was going to get his buckets. Draymond was going to do his antics. If he doesn't show up, they don't win. I don't even think it's
to me, it's just, I feel like it's just as simple as Steph, man. Because he was just, you can't guard that. You got Al at the 3 line. What do you want him? They're like, he got to step up. Where do you want him to step up? At the 40-foot line? Like, come on, bro.
Yeah,
It's just unguardable. They'll set some weirdo like moving pick to where he got like an extra like arm length of room. You know what I'm saying?
And he's just too
lethal.
Well.
He's just too lethal.
He can finish so well. So when he blows by you for coming out, so he doesn't. I don't think.
Yeah, that only happened like once or twice against us because the threes were just so deadly. They were just daggers, literally. Like I remember in the last game, we would make a run. We'd hit like we'd get like a couple free throws or 2, and then hit like 2 threes. We get it to like 12, and then they'd hit 2 threes. Right, he'd hit like a 45-footer, and it's like nothing you could do. Like it just erased all that thing that you did in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's heart-wrenching, and you just can't.
He kills you.
There's nothing you can do, bro. There's nothing you can do.
And he's got
without Steph, we win that series because Clay is not only because Steph is Steph. But what I'm saying is that the other guys didn't do that much.
Yeah. Well,
in terms of scoring and like demoralizing baskets, that was all Steph, bro.
Clay didn't step up. I feel like Wiggins had some really big plays and some.
Yeah, I think he pretty much played defense for the whole series, and then he had I think it was a game 5. It was a game. There was a game where he scored like how he's supposed to score. You know what I'm saying?
4 and 5. 5. No, it was game 5. Game 4 is when he had like 18 rebounds. I was like, shit.
Yeah, exactly. So he just kind of was a chameleon, and he played to whatever the team needed him to do.
And you have like Poole hitting those end of quarter shots, which are always backbreakers and momentum killers.
Oh yeah, and like and that dude was whatever. There's a bunch of guys. There's a bunch of guys who just they benefit off Steph being that ill. You know what I'm saying? Like it's pretty much everybody on the team. There's a couple guys that, they hold their own, whatever. But pretty much everybody else benefits from just how ill Steph is.
And do you okay. Do you what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. Something popped up on the screen here. Yeah, I completely lost what I was gonna say there. But Steph. But one thing about Steph, well, I was going to get to this earlier too. His deceptive handles, right? Because he doesn't necessarily have your traditional like Chris Paul, Kyrie type of handles, right? It's the threat of the pull up. Like all those times when he had like Chris Paul out there dancing on banana peels, it wasn't because he really crossed them over. It's because Chris didn't know where he was going to going up or straight, right? So it's like the threat of the pull up is almost like his crossover, and he gets guys like on ice skates over there, and it's like so the threat
it freezes him, and then for that freeze he just goes down, boom, one dribble, and he's past you.
or you commit a stupid foul, and he gets the and one. And he's gotten stronger, so he can take the bump and not only get the punishment, but give the punishment and get to the rim and finish below the rim. He's gotten almost, I don't want to say he's as good, but he's gotten almost as good as Kyrie as being one of the great below the rim finishers. Remember, Andre Miller was great at it too. Like
he's right there. I feel like he's a way better player than Kyrie, but finishing at the rim, he's definitely probably like 2.
Much better overall player than Kyrie, but Kyrie's
much more
under the around
just being able to get the ball up. Kyrie, that skill set alone is ill.
Incredible, yeah. But other than that, I don't know what big moves are left free agent wise. I don't think there's really many guys.
There's a lot of random things going on.
Now it's trade market. And do you think KD or Kyrie moves first? Which one do you think happens?
I think KD, because KD is the first shoe to drop for the entirety of the free agency,
holding up the league.
So that shoe got to fall before anything else happens. And I feel more strongly that we talked about it, that Kyrie and him are not going to the same place.
I don't even think the Lakers want that, man. And I think that's the only one that could absorb it. And I don't think they want it. One, Clutch Mafia, like I said, won't allow it. 2, he doesn't want to be in Bron's house. I'm not even sure Bron wants him in his house anyway.
Ooh, Kyrie?
Yeah, no, I'm talking about KD. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't see KD going to the Lakers for sure. I don't see that like at all. That's probably like -% on that one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't, and not just because I think him saying that, I wouldn't want it. You know what I mean? As a Laker fan, I wouldn't want it. I mean, it sounds crazy to say you wouldn't want KD. But
I mean, they would have to change the squad completely, and it'd be KD's team, no Bron, no Westbrook, no.
That's why. I mean, look, I know there are a lot of Laker fans like who still don't accept Bron because they're Kobe fans as well. And
it's not Kobe Holmes.
Yeah. I'm the biggest Kobe fan you will ever find. But I always felt it was unfair how those Jordan fans never accepted Kobe until later. And I didn't accept. I'm not gonna front like I was Team Bron. Hell no, I was rooting against him.
I mean,
but when he became a
Kobe
Laker.
didn't become Kobe until it took a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It took like 4 or 5 joints for him to be like Kobe.
Yeah,
he was good. He was good, and then at the beginning was okay, but then he got good and great and Kobe fast. Like it took like by the 5th year, 6th year, you know, he was already up there with some of the best in the league. You know what I mean?
Right.
But people don't forget that though. You know, they think just Kobe was Kobe right away, you know, and it wasn't that way at all.
He was a star as far as an attraction right away, because people forget. Remember, he won that dunk contest his rookie year. He
was definitely an attraction for sure, and people liked him. You know, people liked him. He was likable, but he wasn't like what he ended up being. You know what I'm saying?
Like by year 2, he was an all-star starter. So it was like Kobe was just a star off the court before he was a star on the court, mainly because they didn't play him a lot his first year. They didn't. And
I just didn't see him, even though he got some of those accolades young. I didn't see him start to be close to what the Kobe that we end up knowing now until at least like 4 or 5 years in. You know what I'm saying? Him figuring out how to play with Shaq. That first year they didn't have Shaq, right? You know what I'm saying? So, or the first 2 years or something.
No. They got there the same summer.
The same summer? Okay, yeah. I thought it was 99 for some reason.
They drafted Kobe in 96 and signed Shaq in 96. But
right.
Yeah, but Kobe wasn't you know, he started the season he started training camp hurt. He broke his wrist at, you know, hooping on Venice Beach. He kind of threw him out of training camp, and then he got hurt. And then I remember he got hurt in a preseason game against Philly, and he went baseline, crossed over, went down and dunked. Chick Hearn went ballistic, and like here he comes, but he got hurt on the play in that game as well, and then missed some more time. And then, but yeah, they won their first championship when he was 21. So it was like 4 years when he kind of honed it in. They got him the same year. He was just so young. His body hadn't matured yet. Once he got in the
you know, and he really didn't even know how to play like that. You know what I'm saying? He had to learn how to play. Not that he wasn't good. What I'm saying is that he had to learn how to be better than what he thought good was. You know what I'm saying? Like when he got in, he thought he could just do whatever and be ill, you know, and then we saw that it didn't work right away like that.
With 18-year-old kid, you know what bothers me? So I'm watching and I think you can relate to this because we watched basketball in both eras, right? So these kids come in now. It feels weird to call them kids. I sound like the grumpy old guy, right? But they are. They're kids.
They are. I mean, they're literally like 22 years younger than me, so they're definitely kids.
But when Kobe was walking into NBA arenas or in the press rooms or in the locker rooms or in the summer league, talking that shit to grown ass men, like he meant it. Like this wasn't for clicks. It wasn't for right. But now I feel like it becomes, they've taken that away. They've made it cheap when someone says that. Like I heard like the 23rd or 24th pick in the draft was like, I'm coming to win a championship. Get ready. I'm gonna come in. Heard. I'm like, voice me. And I'm like, it's because they all got voices. They all grew up in the social media era. You know, they're shit talkers. But they think they're even if they're not good, they're shit talkers. You know, they're setting the trend that Kobe set when they're really just kind of trying to duplicate it, and it can't be duplicated, right? So that's the kind of thing that it's annoyed. So it's like but going back to the point.
Even then, like Kobe looked young in the face, but you could tell he was way more educated than the regular 17, 18-year-old kid. You know what I'm saying? True. He grew up overseas. You know, he's taken 4 or 5 languages. It's a different vibe. You know what I'm saying? He looked young in the face though, because he had no facial hair, nothing going on. You know, he got out here. But like I said, there are a lot of diehard Kobe fans that won't accept like LeBron. Like they because it's. I feel like, you know, if you're an older Laker fan where you've seen a few eras of Lakers, then obviously you're in a different boat than the people who only grew up with Shaq Kobe shit, you know? I feel like they think like things are just a certain way, you know? And LeBron can't, at this stage, can't match what that was because he's not in that era. Like he's not in that level of age, you know? If he went to LA when he was on some Miami, I'm sure more Laker fans would be like, yeah, LeBron's the man. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he won us a chip and he's been great. Yeah, he's been great, you know? But I think like, look, Kobe was for him coming. Kobe welcomed him. Kobe was excited about it. So I feel like if he was cool with it, I don't understand why they can't be cool with it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, it's LeBron, man. I mean, if LeBron went to the Celtics, there'd be fans that wouldn't like it, but most people would be like, hell yeah. Yeah. People with a sound mind will be like, hell yeah, let's go. You know? But if you help the Boston Celtics get their 18th championship and he was the driving force behind it, that would get thrown away. Like they would be like, you help us get it. You know what I mean? And it would be over. There would be no the people that would be trying to start an argument would have no argument. You know what I'm saying? He put in his work. He got his done. So yeah, you know, there was some people that didn't want Walton on the 86 squad, you know. But he was a Hall of Famer that barely played. He was gonna come off the bench. Yeah. So people were like, hell yeah, let's go. But people thought he was washed, you know, whatever the case may be, you know. Yeah. But I know that kind of fandom just weirds me out. Your team at that point when they got LeBron, he was still arguably top. But that's the new generation because they care about the player. They don't even look at the front of the jersey on what it says. They just care about whatever the back says. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, great point. Do not get it twisted. I love Kobe Bryant to death. To death. Had he left the Lakers for the Clippers in 2004, I would have been like, fuck Kobe. All day. Like I would have. You know what I mean? I would have. Because like and he won us a three-peat because we were even IT, man. Like I loved IT when he was here, bro. But once he left and he started talking all that crap, like beat it, dog. Get the hell out of here. Yeah, I would have been because that's why I mean it took me a while to even like get over Shaq leaving. I'm like, bye. Like you got us at 3. You demanded the trade. I get it. You and Kobe had your thing, whatever, but like you robbed us of chips because you guys couldn't get along. You know what I mean? And Kobe was not backing down. So then he was like, all right, well, if the team's hitching their wagons to this young kid, and then I'm just old news, I'm out of here. Yep. And he came in, you know, bashing. He got over it, and you know, he was never not loved, but people were like, when you're saying fuck us, fuck you. You know what I mean? So, but he won his 3 chips. You know what I mean? That's never gonna go away. And time heals all wounds, and you come back with reunions and you know all this stuff. And it's a lot of times you forget that stuff. So, but yeah, man, like. You know, it's eras, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna love somebody for a little bit and then they're gonna go, or they're gonna win or they're not gonna win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, look at that team on paper, the C's team with Kyrie and Gordon and all these dudes. Like, it looked crazy, but then you actually play the games, and the guys that are still here now are the guys that were driving the car back then, because the names fell apart.
The guys got injured, and like that man, that guy. I remember they did that cover. Remember it said something like "Who's beating this team or who can stop these guys?" thing
Themselves.
And then it was like and injuries, because I mean Gordon got hurt within minutes. So it's like,
yeah, Gordon got hurt the first 5 minutes, and then we went 18-2 after that.
Yeah.
And then Kyrie stopped playing by game 60, and then we went to the game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah. So weird. This is a crazy ass weird.
Now, something just popped in my head back to the KD thing. Do you think if the Warriors don't win the championship, he demands a trade still, or do you think that's kind of in his head too? Hearing what Draymond's been saying lately and stuff like that, do you think it's kind of just?
I think a lot of things are in that dude's head, man. He cares about what everybody says, like Shaq, like being like, hell yeah, I'm mad that Rudy Gobert's getting $250 million. I should have got $250 million. You know what I'm saying? He's not as good as me or whatever. And KD chiming in like it matters. Like, yo, bro. Like, it's just an old guy hating because the young guy who's not as good as him is getting the biggest bag ever when he could have got that bag. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is.
Hey,
but KD want to be like, bro, why you hating? You're a billionaire. Like, dude, it's none of your biz. Who cares, bro?
Yeah, I get it.
KD is just a victim of his own terrible mistakes. You know what I mean?
I just think
I think the best move he ever made was getting the hell out of OKC so he can go play with Golden State. And then his worst mistake is thinking that he could just start his own thing in Brooklyn with homie, and that shit backfired like a motherfucker, dog.
Yeah. I just think he always thought he was gonna out Braun, and he wanted to like.
I think he thought that after he shot that 3 in his face. You know what I'm saying? Right then and there, he was like, "Yeah, I'm better than LeBron. What's up?" Right then and there, he definitely thought that.
And scoring wise, one of the most gifted scorers we've ever seen. I think you give KD his flowers for everything he can do.
But you know what's wild is that his package is not crazy dynamic.
No,
he's just an anomaly of a human being that's 7 foot and like basically a shooting guard.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Unblockable, essentially.
He doesn't have the moves to where people were saying, "Oh, the most prolific scoring tandem ever." I'm like, bro, how, Sway? Yes, Kyrie has amazing handle and can shoot when he wants to, and can finish at the basket like nobody's business. But there's still way better scorers than him.
So were they referring to Kyrie there, or were they referring to Harden?
No, they were referring to both of them as the most like unstoppable, blah, 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 blah. You know, the most gifted offensive talents of all time. I'm like, how?
I thought they were referring to Harden in that one.
No, they were referring to KD and Kyrie because they were both, high level volume scorers, and they had skill sets that were quote unquote unstoppable. Even though JT blocked his shot 2 or 3 times in the series. And Kyrie after the first game, Kyrie was null and void. Marcus shut him down.
Yeah, and you always said he's never going to perform well in Boston.
Never. I told you, bro. Yo, real talk. The what do they say? The straw that broke the camel's back was the saging of the garden and stepping on the logo, bro. Because if you watch that video, it's different for me. I've been watching the C's for 30
I didn't
years.
pick up on the sage part of I'll let you finish. I didn't pick up on the location of the sage until you mentioned that. I saw the stomping.
He put the sage down and he started saging Tommy's area.
Yeah, I didn't put that together.
He started and Tommy and them liked him. The thing is, people didn't see the national people didn't see all the things that the C's were doing with Kyrie when he was out here. There was a sit down with it was like the new generation and like the legends, that built those positions. And they had a little sit down and one-on-one conversation. I think it was like maybe 10 minutes conversations, and then or 5 minutes, and then they would move to the next thing. You know what I'm saying? And it was Bob Cousy and Kyrie. It was Satch and Jaylen Brown. and it was damn, who was the other guy? And it was, I want to say, JT and some of the older scored. I wasn't have the check or anything like that, but basically it was like that, like the old generation with the new generation and trying to bridge the gaps and all this stuff, you know. So there's a lot of stuff that the C's did with him, trying to keep him like, you know, good out here when he was here. But then he literally just like reneged on everything he said. He lied to everybody. He said he was gonna try to resign, and then literally, whatever, like 2 weeks later was the All-Star game when you caught him and KD in the locker room, you know, trying to get the Brooklyn thing going. You know what I'm saying?
And then he had said, like, you know, it was before a game somewhere where he kind of said like he's gonna, you know, reevaluate his options or something like that. They called Bron to apologize and you know went down that route. But I did not. And you know I watch a lot of different games. I watch a lot of stuff. So I see a lot of those. I see a lot of like the pregame, postgame, because you know, me and you, one thing we both like to do is we like the local point of view better than the national point of view. The beat
for sure, because the national guys are just grabbing headlines. Yeah. Some of the national guys do work beat. They do work the beat for some of these big market teams. So sometimes their opinions of the teams they cover are pretty good, but overall, yeah, it's just like a you know,
or like you're thirsty perk who changes your hat no matter which
yeah, like you know, like sometimes like you know, you try to watch NBA Today and it'll be like Dave McMenamin and Shelburne and like two other like Laker beat people, and you know what I'm saying, you're like hello, can we get other teams covered here? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then Perk, for the most part, will do national stuff, but when it comes to the C's, he'll throw his extra 2 cents in because he does the broadcast. You know what I'm saying? But overall, he'd rather talk national stuff than C stuff. He'd rather talk C stuff with C's fans or whatever. Yeah. But he'd rather talk about Bron and KD and Kyrie and Kawhi. Like he'd rather talk about them than the beat guys. You know what I mean?
I got it. So well, I guess we're gonna have to wait and see what happens later tonight or tomorrow. See if KD
it's definitely happening in the next few days, bro, because it's holding up the market.
Yeah, and I just wonder. I wonder how many other names and big names are going to change cities because of this situation. So,
it's going to happen.
Yeah,
because, like you said, there's going to be 29 teams trying to hitch their wagons to this dude. You know, so there's going to be a lot of guys that thought they had a place to be at that are going to be, you know, on the block.
Yeah, no, with it. And we'll be back on here talking our shit when that happens. So
of course,
there'll be a wrap for today.
Sure, man. Good talk.
Thank you for joining again.
Hour 12, hour 13. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. This one flew by. I had fun with this one.
Yeah. There was a lot of topics, you know.
Yeah, that's what I love about the June 30th, July 1st stuff. It just even though
word.
Plenty of stuff to talk about. KD.
When's Summer League? July 8th or something? 8, 9, 10, 11?
They have 2 ways. So we have like the California Classic, which is like a small. I think there's one in like Orlando, or did that one end? But there's a couple different smaller ones that are happening next week. And then
I saw the C's had like 4 games in like I want to say July 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, something like that. I
think that's a separate one. I think Summer League starts like the 16th. Like
that might be the Vegas. They might be the Vegas League, the one that I'm talking about.
I think it's the follows after that. But yeah, we'll come in. We're gonna catch on that. I'm actually gonna try to get out there for some games. So maybe I'll do one of these.
Damn, that'd be ill.
So. But yeah, we'll be talking again soon.
Word up, bro.
Pop off, and appreciate you joining. We'll catch you next time, man.
Peace.
Peace.